Hello, and welcome to the Duckfeed Memorial Dungeon Estate. This is a weird one. My microphone died, and I was recording this. You'll notice I sound a little different. Here I am probably talking about what's happening in the estate, but I'm not recording this live. I'm doing the voiceover later. And it's real weird. I thought about trying to fake the spontaneous commentary, but that sounds really unpleasant to me. So I'm recording the voiceover afterwards. I'm just going to trust you to look at the screen and kind of talk about, understand what's going on in the fights, and I will explain the boss fight when I get there. But I didn't want to just throw away the episode because I did go do a boss fight in this. This is the episode where I go fight the veteran level necromancer, and I've also had a black letter day today. Not just because my microphone broke, but because of other stuff. So your boy is having a rough one. And I need to work to be distracted. So I was trying to think of how I could record this voiceover and still be engaging and such. Even though I'm, it's hard to, talk about what's going on the screen and try to replicate what it was like when I first did it. So I put a thing on Twitter asking for questions. A little bit disingenuous, just saying I need to be distracted. I do need to be distracted, but I also want some stuff to talk about over this video. This right now in the video is me talking about what I'm going to go do. Go get this cold shoulder trinket you can see on the screen. I'm going to talk through the squad in a minute. But basically the reason why I did this in the Darkest Dungeon Let's Play is because I'm getting a bonus to protection in the ruins until I get a team up to go to the Scarlet Academy. But yeah, here's me talking about my squad. It's kind of a weird one. But yeah, so we got Ceiling Face here. Standard loadout. Spec for DPS. Here's me saying it again. This is so hard. I think I'm not going to do it. I just can't actually just comment on what's happening. So I thought, just so it's not, if it wasn't a boss fight, I would just scrap the video and just say like, hey, you guys missed a video. But I don't want to do that for a boss. So I figured I would answer some questions. And let's just see if we can fill up the half hour or whatever with that. And more questions are coming in. If I run out, just pop on back to Twitter. Yeah, I'm not going to say these people's names because I didn't really tell them what it was for. Not usually the way I act. But again, as I mentioned, this has been a black letter day. Okay, first question. Is there an abject suffering episode that I wish had been a watch out for fireballs episode? The answer to that is probably no. When we run into stuff like that, I have either it will become a watch out for fireballs episode. So for example, I think we'll do Lost Kingdoms at some point. Pretty sure we did that for Abject Suffering. I think we will do that at some point for Bonfire Side Chat. That looks cool. Looks like a 6-hour JRPG from FromSoft. That's interesting to me. And other times when we've had that happen, we just do a long episode. So for example, Contradiction is basically a miniature watch out for fireballs, that episode. So not really. Second question. Did Pocket have any trial names before I settled on Neo Geo Pocket? Pocket, just Pocket, was always going to be the name of my next pet. I just thought it was extremely cute. The Neo Geo I added as like a fun little kind of joke. And just so I could call him other nicknames if I got bored with calling him Pocket, which I have not gotten bored with. I think it is some of my best work. I think it's an extremely cute name. So, but he did have a name before I got him. He had a shelter name, which was Milton, which I don't think is very appropriate. Like it's appropriate if I think about like the Milton who wrote Paradise Lost. It's not appropriate if I think about like a nebbish accountant, which is not very Pocket-like. What is my favorite tea? My favorite tea is passion tea, which I think is based on the passion fruit. Yeah, that is my favorite tea. Second one would be like a double bergamot. So just like a very strong black breakfast tea that is English. I also am a fan of the Orange Pacoque tea, which is also a very standard tea. When I first got into tea in high school, that was the tea I bought huge boxes of bags of. Really enjoyed. If I were a magic card, what colors would I be? White. I think I'm a good, I think I'm generally a good person. I think I might be particularly environmental. I don't think of myself as tricky or aggressive or evil. I think the true answer is I'd probably be white. In that, I think the coolest like combination might be like black and blue, or like white and blue, or white and black. But I think that actually the way that I live my life is pretty solidly plains, pretty solidly white mana. What is my favorite non-numbered Resident Evil and why? That's a fun question because non-numbered Resident Evils tend to be pretty shitty. This is so funny because you don't even know, the screen's just still.
I entertained a delegation of experts from overseas, eager to plumb the depths of their knowledge and share with them certain techniques and alchemical processes I had found to yield wondrous and terrifying results. Having learned all I could from my visiting guests, I murdered them as they slept.
Okay, so I think that hopefully the way that I'm editing this video, you'll still be able to hear Wayne June describe the Necromancer. Non-numbered Resident Evils tend to be bad. If I had to choose my favorite, it's probably the Umbrella Chronicles, which is kind of a remake. It's kind of a cop-out. It is the one on the Wii that is a light gun game that is kind of a remix of several of the different entries in the series. Oh, here's where I get Dismas's head on the screen. Secret room right off the bat. That's great. I remember that when I did that earlier today, when I didn't know that my microphone was broken. But yeah, probably that. I like it more than Code Veronica, which is really the only other true competition. Like, Revelations now have numbered sequels, and the Revelations games I'm not crazy about. Dead Aim is really bad. Gaiden's really bad. So, tough stuff. Here's a fun question that I can camp out on for a little bit. What would I want in Darkest Dungeon 2? That's a great question. So, Darkest Dungeon, I think that my love for it should be obvious to everyone, especially everyone watching this, I guess. And look at these ghosts that are also on the screen now. I was not expecting to run into so many ghosts. I need to bring a Ghostbusters to the Ruin and see if I can, I think there's a quest line and a boss and stuff attached to the ghost, but I don't know how to unlock it. I might have my mods in a incorrect order. So Darkest Dungeon is something I really love, and I think that doing this modded playthrough has taught me that I would have been very happy with just new classes and dungeons. If they had just taken this base framework, done a couple of quality of life improvements, and just here's 10 new classes and a whole bunch of new dungeons with new concepts and mechanics, I would have been happier than a pig in shit. I'm so into these mods. I'm having so much fun with them. Red Hook decided not to do that. They're doing something pretty different. It is in the Arctic. It is not dealing with, improving a static hamlet. There might be or static estate. It seems like there might be supply lines or something for that, but it's going to be pretty different. While keeping several of the same classes. They've also been putting out advertisements for 3D Artist. So that kind of means, I guess as far as what I want is I want more Darkest Dungeon. I love Darkest Dungeon. They could have just done an iterative sequel and I would have been happy. Very happy. They're not doing that. So I have mods for that, and I have to wait and see what they're actually doing, and we have very little information about what they're doing. But what I want would just be more stuff. I love this video game. So class rebalances on existing classes, many new classes, many new locations, monsters, bosses, mechanics, things to engage with. If I had to pick an X-Men arc to cover next, presumably which one would I pick? It's probably for Days of Future Cast. That's a fun question. Honestly, I want to get out of the quality zone for a minute and get into something that's kind of closer to the animated series in terms of the balance between legitimately good and kind of entertaining. So I would love to do Age of Apocalypse next. I don't know whether we'll do that. I think we'll do it eventually because we both have some affection for it. But I don't know if that's what we'll do next. But that would be my instinct right now. Age of Apocalypse. Be pretty fun. It's a fun, dumbass story. Kind of neat things in it. It's Brian K. Vaughan's first comic work, I believe. Takes place in that. It's not great, but he's a comics writer who I like a lot. So it's kind of neat to see. Someone else asks, did you ever end up beating the Sword Saint? Yes, I did. I beat Sword Saint Ishin. I don't feel great about it. I talked about it on Bonfireside Chat. Like, it didn't make me all of a sudden like it, and that's just kind of the case. I kind of respect it as a thing. It still feels pretty excessive to me, though, and I can't emotionally get attached. Like, the cutscene is so cool. One of the big reasons why Sekiro has not aged, like, perfectly in my mind, or I barely thought about it at all, to be honest, is that I cannot give a shit about, like, Enichiro. He's my antagonist. He is the person who is driving this plot, and I just don't have any sympathy for him. I don't care about him. I don't think he's an interesting character. I don't think he has an interesting conflict at his heart. It's trading on... Look at this. There's the Wang ghost again on the screen. Second from the left there. I just don't think it's a very interesting thing they did with him. And part of it might be cultural. Part of it could just be the scale of story they were trying to tell, but I do not care about him. And it made me not care about Ishin. It made me kind of not care about the game. That knock-on effects, like, I like Kuro, but the things, the context surrounding him, the world and characters surrounding him really influences how he was going to, like, tug on my heartstrings or not. I kind of didn't. So yes, I beat Sword Saint. Still did not love it. How am I staying sane these days? AMAs aside. Define staying sane. Fluoxetine? I don't know. Today was really rough, so it's a hard one to mention, just for reasons I don't need to go into here. In general, I do okay. I try to stay distracted. I concentrate on work. Try to socialize a few times a week. Try to spend time doing things that I find fulfilling. So, like, work, creative pursuits, let's play, things like that I find really fun. So that's what I try to do. Have I ever been, or have ye ever been? So this whole thing is written in Lighthouse speak. Have ye ever been to Fire on the Mountain? And if so, what's your favorite wing flavor? Have I ever been to Fire on the Mountain? Are you kidding? I go to the Fire on the Mountain constantly. That is where Winging It with Will happens. Those are the titular wings. I have gone, since I moved to this neighborhood, I've, like, now living in, like, the third slightly non-consecutive apartment in this neighborhood. I'm pretty close to Fire on the Mountain. Don't assassinate me. And I go there a lot. So I love Fire on the Mountain. My favorite wing flavor from Fire on the Mountain is their hot. As far as non-seasonal, when they do seasonal wings, they have, like, these special things that came in. My favorite one of those was a ranch dry rub. And that was very good. They discontinued that, though. They stopped doing dry rubs at all. They also will have a Carolina barbecue. Sometimes that's delicious. They have a Thai sauce that's really delicious. Those are all really, really good. But as far as standard flavors, I just like their hot wings, their hot buffalo sauce. Follow-up question here. And it wasn't meant to be follow-up. It's a coincidence. What's the best sauce you ever had? That is a broad question. I like a great many sauces. Sauces are very important to me in terms of food and flavor. So best is a little bit tricky. Yeah, that is a hard one. I think, this is a cop-out. It's probably not best I've ever had. But I've been really into, I decided to upgrade my ketchup game, and I started buying the fancy ketchup for home, which is the Portland Ketchup Company, which is really good ketchup. Like, tastes like it had tomatoes in it at some point. It's hard to go back. It's a really good ketchup, and I've been making fry sauce with that when I make fries in the oven sometimes. I cut up sweet potatoes, and I bake up some fries. And the fry sauce with that ketchup is actually very good. Super tangy, super delicious. Next question. Let's see how we're doing on time here. Is this balancing out right? I don't know where we're... Oh, so we're about halfway through. We're about halfway through our questions. We're doing good. Again, I know this is a weirdo episode. In this episode, I get rid of some quirks. What else happens? I don't camp because I don't want the snake dream. And then I plan on camping after the snake, or after the boss. But I end up using up all my food to heal up because I fight a collector. Spoiler. So yeah, it's a weird episode, and it is too hard for me to comment on it in post. So I know I already apologized for that or whatever, but that is thus this weird entry. And I was thinking about, as I get more comfortable with Darkest Dungeon, and if I do this for the long haul, which it seems like I will because I'm enjoying it so much, having more kind of topics that I can talk about that are digressive, kind of using it as a platform for that, and then also just so I'm not just describing what happens on screen, So, yeah. Asked, how excited am I for the Midwest Gaming Classic panel topic? I think it's a pretty good one. For people who don't know, Cole and I will be at Midwest Gaming Classic this year. We did not get a panel presentation. We wanted one, but we reached out to them too slowly. I reached out to them at the same time I did last year, but this year it was too slowly. I guess they're growing. And it was also going through the holidays and duck stream prep and all that stuff during that time. So they were like, we can give you a table. We'll comp you that. Here, just on the screen real quick, here's my shield breaker. She's getting a really significant damage buff. It's another reason why I felt good not camping. With 30% damage buff until camp. Through that very good curio there, and angel statue that I threw holy water onto. So we couldn't get a panel. I always feel a little bit bad about that because people come out and see us. So I was like, what can we do? Should we not do the con? Should we try it for another con? But people were counting on coming out to it, and we like Midwest Gaming Classic a lot. It's really fun. So I asked Bob Mackey, my friend and yours, Retronauts, if hey, can we join you on your panel? Just kind of thinking we'll team up. And he said, yeah. So they're doing a thing that he's done before, actually, which is celebrity appearances in games, but it'll be a different set. He's adding some celebrity appearances, and it's just going to be goof off color commentary on that stuff. I think it's going to be really fun. So, and it's going to be kind of fun not to have to prepare for a panel of our own, just kind of selfishly, and part of that's today speaking, but also just going down there, glad handing, hanging out at a table, being nice to people, hanging out at the hotel. I think it's going to be fun. I like Midwest Gaming Classic a lot. Next question. Have you seen The Color Out of Space? If so, what's your one-sentence opinion on it, assuming it will make it unfilmable as well eventually? The goal is to make that the unfilmable episode for February. Cole has to see it. He has to drive out to see it, which is kind of a bummer, but that's what it would take. I loved it. I think it is astoundingly good. I think it is one of these weird perfect mixes of sad and wild and psychedelic and scary and funny, and I just thought it was a really, really strong movie. And I'm really looking forward to revisiting it. One of the things I kept saying about it that I think is true is that it is one reason it's really good is because it remembers that The Color Out of Space is a tragedy. I love The Color Out of Space. It is a sad story. And I think weirdly enough, the Nicolas Cage version of that has some real pathos. I don't want to, associate Nicolas Cage with pathos, but he does a good job with it, and everyone else does a good job. It's a great movie. Cannot wait to revisit. I'm going to definitely add it to my collection. And I'm really excited about Richard Stanley doing more Lovecraft stuff. It's cool. What is my favorite Disney cartoon property? That's Robin Hood. Pretty hands down. I grew up with it. I think it stands up. It's fun to watch now. The songs are good. Animation wonks are all mad because it copies off Cinderella animation, but it's a more fun story than Cinderella. I don't know. Cinderella's fine, but Robin Hood's cool. Shoots a bow and arrow. It's an outlaw. There's that snake. I just think it's a better story, so I don't really care about the animation. I just like the story more. I like the songs more. Second would be Sword in the Stone. Also something from when I was a kid I really appreciated. The scene where he turns into a squirrel and the lady squirrel chases him around, which is extremely weird in retrospect, but that's burned into my memory. And just it's about Merlin and cool ass wizards and witches and shit, which I care about what stuff is about. I don't just want the craft of something. If I just cared about animation, all I would do is watch old cartoons about babies getting stuck on girders. But I really do care about what something's about. What is my favorite bit of mischief that Pocket engages in? Most of Pocket's mischief is actually pretty problematic. He bites and claws, and I've got a recliner that he has destroyed, more or less. That was a pretty nice one, a vintage one. I knew he was doing it. I just kind of allow it because I didn't want to spend my lifetime yelling at my cat. He makes a lot of noise. He but he bites me, like especially if I'm on a toilet. He knows I'm a captive audience. He'll like just walk up and just calmly like bite my arm. It's real weird, you know. So those are all bad bits of mischief. My favorite bit is he's gotten into wall jumping. It's really strange. There's like a specific corner that he'll like run at, jump up, and do a wall jump off of. And it's really Tony Hawk-like, and I don't understand where it's coming from or why he does it. It's pretty funny. So that's as far as mischief. And then as far as non-mischief goes, like, he's a fucking sweetheart miracle. Like, he's very lovey and, like, affectionate and just a joy to behold. Very beautiful. You know, I respect his spirit. I really respect his sense of independence. Like, I have a lot of respect for him. So those are the good bits of non-mischief. Favorite cereal, and it's spelled with a C. I don't know if it's favorite, but I did, because we recorded Abject Suffering about it, I did go buy a box of Peanut Butter Captain Crunch, and I have been enjoying that. I don't know if it's my all-time favorite, but I do love that cereal. I eat it with non-sweetened vanilla almond milk, and it's really tasty. And then cereal is spelled the other way. My favorite cereal is spelled the other way. I never listened to that podcast, but I can think of that as like a cereal, like a radio serial or a TV show or, you know, anything like that. And that's, you know, also, again, kind of tricky. I don't know what my favorite TV show is. There's just like so many TV shows I like. You know, Drama Division, Breaking Bad is really up there. The Wire is really up there. I know those are generic answers, but I love them. Those are exceedingly good. Comedy Division, I love The American Office very much. I think it's like the best supporting cast. Hey, there's a bad bit of mischief. Pocket just knocking something over there. It was a deodorant. I love that. I love the supporting cast. I think that show has heart in the right spots. Here's our collector friend. I'm going to body the shit out of him. I love The American Office. I love Fleabag as a comedy drama. I thought that was just astounding. I love Chernobyl very much. I actually just ended up buying that on DVD. You know, so lots of cereals I love in that secondary spelling. Favorite healthy snack and favorite shameful snack. My favorite healthy snack, in terms of like purely healthy, might be like red pepper and hummus. You know, in terms of like actually healthy, like almonds, I like nuts, just fine, even though almonds are evil and they fuck everything up. But I like those, but really honestly, you know, hummus and a vegetable, and a non-carrot vegetable. Like carrot and hummus, I never think those flavors go very well together, but red pepper and hummus is a good healthy snack. And then shameful snack, pretzels and pimento cheese. If I have a tub of pimento cheese in front of me, I can do pretty terrible things to it. And yeah, not ashamed of it. So, but it is delicious, and I could go for some right now. Did I get around to trying Wolfenstein Youngblood, and do I have impressions on it? No and no. I am curious about it. I keep seeing it on sale for Switch, but I want to get it on PC so I can play with my buddy Derek. So it looks cool. I'm very curious about it. The reviews sound, you know, not great, but I am curious about it. I think it looks cool. How should I wrap up my D&D session tonight? Brother, you're going to get this response way too late for that. In general, I'm not good at this, but I think the coolest way to wrap up D&D sessions is with a big dramatic thing of some kind of cliffhanger. Here's where you can watch me on the screen here make a mistake, not leaving myself eat food to get rid of stress after this fight. So I just was worried about topping off my character's health. And let's take a break here before I continue to talk about D&D and talk about the Necromancer fight. I've talked about this before with the Apprentice Necromancer. All of the bosses in this game have an Apprentice, a Veteran, and a Champion version. The Veteran versions are harder than the Apprentice versions, but not that much. The big difference is just kind of numbers and him having more HP. But at this point, I'm bringing in level 4 and 3 characters with mostly optimized, you know, stats. They don't really have anything to worry about, you know? So I'm going to body the Necromancer here. Like, he's just going to get absolutely wrecked. Like, I'm going to, you know, need to heal a couple times. I get a lot of stress from it. The bosses become serious when they get a champion level. That's where their kind of gimmicks are all really based, you know, really optimized. So, like, it's not uncommon to lose a character to a champion level boss in this game. And then once you get to the optional bosses, the Color of Madness bosses and the Crimson Court bosses, those are all absolute fuckers. So, but here, you know, this doesn't actually require all of my, you know, all my skills. This is not me bringing all my engines to bear, you know? So ending a D&D session, I like ending it with like a cliffhanger or a cool dramatic wham moment. I'm not always good at that. I tend to end things when things are slow, you know, for a sense of resolution. But I recommend other people end their D&D sessions with like something really cool happening that the players will be curious about next time. I think that's best practices. Question: have you heard the new Michael Stipe singles? What are your thoughts? I have heard them. I think they're borderline unlistenable, and it breaks my heart to think that. But I want him to have a career. I want him to continue to make stuff. I appreciate that he's continuing to make stuff and he's kind of moving forward. I just don't think they're good songs. You know, I think the guys in that band who were not Michael Stipe were probably responsible for, you know, the songwriting part of things, like the melody. And he was mostly responsible for the lyrics. I'm pretty sure that's what they did. They would write things, you know, track things and then send them to Stipe. And then Stipe would, you know, attempt to make lyrics that go over them. So I think that the new Stipe single is not very good. One of my best memory associated with music, when my first serious band that went on tour, the Metroids, went on tour to the East Coast, we played a show in South Carolina, which we played. It was like this old scenester had a house that was very psychedelic that I did house shows at. It was the most anyone's ever resonated with my music. It was people a couple years younger than me dancing and like coming up afterwards and begging us for CDs. We just vibed with them so fucking hard. And that was really cool to experience. That felt really good. And in some ways, like my live performance that I do in life is me chasing that feeling a little bit. These are questions from Twitter. Currently, we've got about 3 minutes left on the video. Have I mastered Demon of Hatred yet? No. I shan't. Here's the meme. I grabbed the Solaire class. And I'm kind of embarrassed about this because it's memey. I already had that Ghostbuster. But this is because it comes with a Covenant and has all these weird mechanics. So I don't name this after a commenter. I name it Solaire because I'm not going to take multiple Solaires. But he's really good. He's based around stunning. He seems awesome. So you can kind of see me hover over the skills here if you want to watch the screen as well while I talk. I'll never master Demon of Hatred. I don't like that fight. I don't think it's very fun. If I was invited to a dinner party where the host was serving dishes made with meat grown from their own DNA, would you go and eat dinner? Depends on who it was. You know, maybe. Like, depend on and for what purposes. You know, but not just dinner party implies some intimacy to me. Like they would know me already, and that's why they invite me to a dinner party. Not going to do it if just I get an invitation in the mail in like an unmarked black envelope. Coffee or tea? Coffee. I like tea. Will says, do these work on me with a pair of glasses? And they do. I'm going to actually respond to that tweet, but he looks great with glasses. I think men, especially men of carriage, look better with glasses. Something to break up to divide your face into segments, I think is actually really strong. You know, so not to be like bodyist or anything like that. Like I'm comfortable in my skin. I don't mind being a fat guy. But I just think it looks better. I think fat dudes look good with beards. I think they look good with glasses. Hey, Pocket. Psst. Bad mischief, brother. Okay. Any abject suffering games you returned to after the episode that you genuinely enjoyed? Probably not. Not that way we didn't just actually go through and beat, you know, and do the whole episode on like the contradiction style thing. And the last one I'm going to answer here because we're coming up on time. Favorite nonfiction book? It's a fun question. God, what would that be? I really liked Stiff, which was a Mary Roach book about corpses. I really like, there's a book I read once called like Cheap, the high cost of like low cost living or something that I really liked. That was pretty enlightening in my like commie pingo-ness. So anywho, this is about the end of the episode. This won't happen again. I have my backup mic, which I'm recording this into. I now know to check for it. The microphone that broke has been good for like 8 years, so I didn't even think that maybe it would fuck up. Sadly, it did. There's about a minute left of this video. I just want to say thank you. Sorry about the weirdness. for this. Thank you, people on Twitter who did participate in this. And yeah, as always, I appreciate you. I'll be back in a couple days or a day or whatever I decide to do. And yeah, with an episode with actual commentary. And thanks. Yeah, that's about it. Appreciate you. Bye.